Good morning, everyone. I'm going to make this short and sweet because we've got a huge storm blowing up, thunderheads and everything else. We had a wild storm last night that woke me up in my rig, and I'd left the skylight open purposely, with the fan and all that to cool it all off. And I was really exhausted last night from all the work I've been doing, so I was sleeping deeply, and I woke up and I heard water, and I didn't realize at first what it was, and had to orient myself for a minute before I realized, oh shit, it's the I need to close the flap there, and then it kept dripping in, and it took me another minute. At first I thought, oh crap, now there's a leak in it, and it took me a minute to realize, oh well, it's just the water that had gathered still dripping down. So everything turned out okay. But another huge storm is going to happen today and through tonight and tomorrow. I can see the clouds coming in. It's really kind of gorgeous. But I wanted to tell you, as many of you know, if for anyone who's followed along with me and read my blogs and all that, Chuck many years ago was a flight engineer on the 141s, the Starlifter, and they were at McGuire Air Force Base, which is where he worked and where he retired from. So I was walking around today, and students are starting to arrive, and the singers, I've met a couple of singers, and the artistic director, and the set designer, and it's kind of cool. And it's a great group of people that I work with, and then now there's all of the students and the people coming in for the opera camp. So I'm already starting to pick up little things here and there that I didn't know before. But as I was walking around, there's this one guy, Brian, he's been doing construction. And he's super nice. He helped me out early on with fixing the lock on my trailer door, which was broken. So he was walking around with this guy, Chris, and Chris had a shirt that said Army across it. And so I asked him if he'd served, and it ends up that he was a jumper. He was with the 82nd. And so we talked a little bit, and I said, oh, geez, my husband, Chuck, retired out of McGuire Air Force Base, and he was a flight engineer with the 141s, and that was before I knew him, but he loved those 141s, and so Chris got this look on his face, and he said, yeah, that was my first jump, and out of a 141. He said, I jumped out of a lot of 141s in my time in service. And so we just talked a little bit, and I showed him the picture of Pink Magic up underneath the wing of the 141 at Starlifter Park at McGuire Air Force Base, the memorial park for them. And so we just talked a little bit, and it was just really nice. It's like this, it's no connection whatsoever, and yet a connection to Chuck somehow. And I told him before he left, man, if he ever, I showed him a picture of Chuck, because he served at about the same time, and I told him, man, if you ever come to me and tell me that I told him Chuck's last name. I said, Chuck Deering. I said, if you ever come to me and tell me that you remember his name or that you flew with him or something like that, I said, I'm just going to absolutely, that's just going to send me over the edge. I get so emotional meeting people who knew Chuck's world. And so that was kind of pretty cool to start the day off that way. And man, I miss Chuck. And there's these moments where I meet people who knew his world, and I'm so glad for the connection, and at the same time, it brings it home how gone he is. So, but anyways, all right, I just wanted to share that little bit with you. I'm going to go ahead and get off here because thunder is approaching, and I'm gonna kind of take cover. So I'll keep on updating you, and thanks for joining me this morning.